that it was important to show the process and some of the challenges that we incur, or that we encounter on our younger horses, our greener horses, our less talented horses, so that we can really give people a true picture of this is what it looks like at this stage, and or for this particular individual, and this is how we go about trying to improve upon it.
You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Welcome to The Ride, a bi-weekly podcast brought to you by Horse and Rider Magazine, co-hosted by Nicole Cherico and Devin Conley. In each episode, we chat with some of the industry's top trainers, clinicians, horsekeeping experts, and professionals to share inspiring stories, training philosophies, and the importance of living your best Western horse life. On this episode of The Ride, we sit down to talk with Bud Lyon. Bud is one of our Horse and Rider On-Demand experts, and we just recently launched the start of his Ranch Riding 101 Masterclass that's available on Ride TV. So in this episode, we just kind of catch up about the series, what people can expect to learn, the future of the ranch horse events, which just continue to grow, along with talking about his part in the Along for a Ride symposium that just took place in Las Vegas, which you will be able to watch some of those clips on Ride TV as well. If you missed the first episode that we did with Bud several years ago that talks a little bit about how he got involved in the horse industry, be sure to give that episode a listen as well. We have it linked in the show notes below. This episode of The Ride is brought to you by Platinum Performance. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Ride. This is your host, Nicole Cherico, and today I am here with Horse and Rider On Demand expert and Ride TV expert, Bud Lyon. We wanted to do a little touch base and talk a little bit about the masterclass that we filmed this October that has just recently launched. For anybody who has not listened to the episode that we've done in the past with Bud, please be sure to check it out and get a feel for, how he got involved in the industry and what his experiences have been along the way. But today we are mostly going to cover a little bit about some of the stuff we went through in the fall. So thanks, Bud, for jumping on and talking with us.
Yeah, you bet, Nicole. Thanks for having me on. As always, I always look forward to these conversations.
So we, this September, we did 5 days of filming, and we worked on this masterclass that's for the ranch riding. And while we are going to cover other aspects of the ranch classes in the future, this one was specifically focused on ranch riding events. Can you talk a little bit about your experience working on it and like what you're kind of hoping people take away when they watch something like this?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that first and foremost, it's really important to me to get it right and to make sure that whatever content we're putting out there or whatever information we're disseminating is, stuff that is actually true to what we're doing here in my program at my ranch and in the show pen, and, stuff that's valuable and to the subscribers and things that they can actually learn from and use, whether it's, at home or in their own program. And it's the things that we do at my house, and it's, the fundamentals and the nuances that that we have discovered work for us for my program that have led to the success and the results that we've seen. So it's really important to me that the content is really valuable to our subscribers, and to make sure that we provide information that is helpful to everyone who is trying to benefit from it.
Yeah, and we've definitely done a lot of ranch riding videos in the past, but this one I really liked. Kind of basically, we start from the beginning of all of it. And it's really easy for people to be able to follow along and start from one point and get to another point and just really learn everything that they really need to know before they attend their first event. So let's go over some of the talking points that we cover in this masterclass. To begin with, we talk a little bit about just the introduction to it, what it is. Can you talk a little bit about what what people can expect when they're watching those kind of introductory videos?
Well, I think that we really took it back to the basics and kind of boiled it down to, what essentially the ranch riding is meant to be, and what the fundamentals are that are required before you ever even get into the nuances that I touched on just a minute ago. I think that we talk about things like body control, and we talk about lateral movement, and we talk about collection, and we talk about softness, and we talk about all these things that are essential to have before you worry about doing anything else in the ranch riding. The next step from there is probably talking about the transitions and talking about some of the maneuvers that are required, your spins and your lead changes and your log work and things like that. But I think, we really started from the beginning and talked a lot about the building blocks for the ranch riding, which are essentially, in my program, the same fundamentals and building blocks that we use for the reining and for other disciplines. And quite frankly, I think that they're essential for just good, proper horsemanship. And I think if you don't start there, then and you don't have those things first under your belt, or in your toolkit, or if you haven't taught your horse those good fundamentals, those basics, then I think you really can't excel as much as you want to, or you can't really fix a problem if you encounter it down the road. So I think it was really important to start from with those basic building blocks, and then work our way forward from there.
Well, and one thing that I really liked about this video shoot is that you were using horses that were green for some of your green riding topics versus trying to take a finished horse and kind of recreate or manufacture problems that you might run into when you're working with a young horse. So I think that's going to be really beneficial for people to actually see you working with a horse that may be stiff and needs to soften up, or is new to going over logs, or has never done a ranch riding pattern before. And I think all of that is going to be really beneficial for people to watch and kind of learn.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I mean, that was by design, right? We had a plan that, we were going to do that and expose some of the, issues and the warts and the flaws that, come with younger horses or green horses in that situation. And I think it's, to me, I think it's really hard if you, have a very high performing horse of any discipline, and you go out there and demonstrate, and that horse has the talent and the training and the ability to do things perfectly on, with consistency. I think it's hard for people to learn from that sometimes, because, that's not realistic with every horse or in every scenario. And, it's really challenging to, watch something like that and go, okay, well, that's great, but how do I get there? And so I think that it was important to show the process, and some of the challenges that we incur, or that we encounter on our younger horses, our greener horses, our less talented horses, so that we can really give people a true picture of this is what it looks like at this stage, and or for this particular individual, and this is how we go about trying to improve upon it.
Yeah. And then further along in the ranch riding masterclass, we also go over some of the ranch riding patterns. That was really cool because we got to use a drone to do some overhead shots so that people can get a feel for what the pattern placement should look like, where you should be in different parts of the arena. And I think it's just going to be really great for people to have a visual of how these patterns are supposed to be done, because I know, if you don't come from a pattern background like horsemanship or trail or anything, or reining, it can be really intimidating because there's a lot of pieces to those patterns that require you to really pay attention to where you are in the arena.
Absolutely. I mean, there are several components to, achieving success in any pattern class, but one of those, components, to your point, is pattern placement, and how you lay that pattern out, and how you present it to the judges, and the strategy involved, with your horse, and where you can choose to be aggressive and where, you might want to be conservative. And so I think a big part of it, with pattern placement is just talking about presentation and having a good plan. And I think that if you don't have a feel for that, or you don't, have a background for that, then hopefully these are the kind of videos that can help you get more comfortable with your pattern placement.
And I think it's important to note that we did all the patterns that do not require live cattle because we did not have access to live cattle for this video shoot, but we're hoping to include those in a future shoot.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that it's important to, to point out that a lot of people don't have access to cattle. So, we certainly live in an area where we can go, right down the street and use those, but I don't keep cattle at my place right now currently. And so I think that, we're not discouraging people from, using cattle or whatnot. And we want to definitely touch on that in the future. But I think it is, we wanted to touch on the patterns initially that we think that a lot of people are going to gain value from. And like we said, a lot of people don't have access to cattle, and we didn't have them here on that day. So I think that, that's something that we want to check that box going forward.
And then kind of just going past the masterclass and talking about the evolution of the ranch classes, it just continues to grow. We're seeing new events being added every year to breed associations like AQHA, APHA. You're starting to see futurity events, stake events, high money in some of these events that we didn't see 10 years ago. You have obviously been a very major part of the growth of the ranch horse events. Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen in terms of the last couple of years, what it means for the future of the ranch horse events?
Yeah, I mean, the evolution of the ranch discipline from where it first started when it was first introduced, 10, 12 years ago at the AQHA level, I think has been, incredible to watch. And I think there have been a lot of positives, come from that. I think that what we're seeing is that, we're getting better horses and horsemen and women participating. We're getting people who are more educated, and we're getting people who really are more passionate about the events and are enjoying them. And I think that, there's been so much interest and participation in the ranch classes. It's the fastest growing of all the Western disciplines, as I understand it. And I think that, I don't necessarily have the crystal ball, so I can't tell you exactly where it's going. But what I do know is that my gut tells me what we're seeing now will be, just amplified 5 years from now at the current rate. And I think that's a good thing. It's giving a lot of horses and people an opportunity to participate. We live in an age of specialization, and I think a lot of our other Western performance events have gotten so specialized that, people feel like there's not necessarily a place for them or their horses to participate and enjoy and be competitive. And I think the ranch classes have offered a solution to that. And I think that it's brought a lot of people back into the fold. I think we have, a wonderful community of people who are involved in the ranch classes, and they tend to be very supportive of one another and, very, very communal and helpful with each other. And I love seeing that part of it. And so I'm hopeful that that just continues to grow and exacerbate itself, and that, we're having this conversation again 5 years from now. We're talking about how big and successful the ranch classes are and the ranch division are, and how much fun people are having.
Bud has been a Team Platinum rider and client since 2009 and feeds Platinum Performance GI to his barn for overall performance and advanced gastrointestinal support. With his horses on the road, training and showing, Bud has stayed consistent with Platinum Performance, and he's a strong advocate for nutrition as a key part of his program. Platinum Performance GI is show safe and eligible for up to $15,000 in colic surgery reimbursement through the Platinum Colic coverage. Call Platinum at 800-553-2400 or visit them at platinumperformance.com to learn more about Platinum Performance GI. You even reached another milestone last year when you and Sumac Gonna Be Flashy won the AQHA Super Horse Award at the AQHA World Show last year. It's a really prestigious award, and to be able to say that he was the first ranch horse to compete in events like ranch riding, ranch trail, reining, halter. I know I'm missing one or two. Oh, working rail. What's that like?
Oh man, it's humbling. It's exciting. It's the Super Horses is an award that's been around for as long as I can remember, and I never, in a million years, quite frankly, thought that I would be in a position to win that title or be associated with the horse that won that title, and so it's I was so excited for the horse because if any horse deserved it, it's that one. I was so excited for the horse's owner, Leslie Lang, who's become a great friend and mentor. I was excited for the ranch discipline because, I traditionally that award has gone to an all-around horse or an English horse, maybe a rope horse, but I was so excited for Romeo, as we call him, to be the first ranch horse to win that award, and because I think he's exemplary of what an ideal ranch horse should be, and the fact that he was able to accomplish that and represent not just my program, not just himself, but an entire discipline, I think, is a huge honor. And, I just can't really fully put into words how grateful I am to that horse for whatever he was able to accomplish, and especially that title.
And then, recently Romeo and you were in Vegas. You were asked to participate in Andrea Fapani's Along for the Ride Symposium. There's going to be clips available on Ride TV for subscribers to watch. So if you have a chance to watch this masterclass and you want to soak even more bud knowledge, I highly recommend watching some of these clips because it was incredible. I've learned so much just from watching all these videos. I can only imagine what it was like being there in person. Can you talk a little bit about your experience and what it was like? It's something that is really a different experience from what a lot of you horse trainers probably do on a daily basis when it comes to working with clients and showing horses.
Yes, that was, I don't know if it's a once in a lifetime experience, but I know that opportunity doesn't come around very often, that environment, to be, in a group of high performing individuals who just excel at their craft and are, truly at the top of their profession. Is a very unique experience, and I'm so grateful that I got to be included in that. And it was just for me one giant sort of think tank, and I learned so much from just being immersed in that symposium with fellow trainers like Todd Bergen, Andrea Fapani, obviously Sean Flaird, Luca Fapani, Don Benuelos, Anna Buffini, who is a high level dressage rider, and just the amount of knowledge and expertise that gets batted around there in that type of environment is it's astounding, and I that's a collection of minds that doesn't often get together in a format like that. So I was really excited to be part of it, and to learn and to grow as well. Even though I was there, as a clinician, and I'm supposed to be teaching other people, I learned a lot myself, and I think that anyone who wants to go download the symposium and certainly watch the clips that you guys are going to produce, I think is going to be able to learn a lot, not just a little, but you're going to be able to learn a lot. And I don't know if they'll ever do that again, but if they do, I sure hope I get invited back, because I know that it was personally very rewarding for me, and it caused me to consider a lot of things with my training program that either I had maybe forgotten and kind of gotten away from, or things that I needed to reconsider and readdress. So I just think that there's something for everybody, no matter what discipline you come from, no matter what background you come from, no matter what your skill set level is. I think that you're going to learn a lot by watching that and taking in that information.
I'm only like a third of the way through of watching all of this content. I mean, we're talking like 8 hours of content a day. It's insane the amount of stuff that you guys were able to talk about each day. But I mean, you're covering such a wide scope of stuff. I mean, there's cult starting content, there's 2-year-old, 3-year-old. I've seen footage of you and Romeo kind of demonstrating what the ranch horse events look like. I've seen you working young horses over logs. I mean, there's so much different there. It's just amazing how much content there is and how much people can learn just from these 3 days that you guys were in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we really did, I think cover a wide variety of subject matter, and that's a credit to Andrea, who put everything together, and he brought in obviously Sean, who he has a longstanding relationship with, and Luca, his son, who's an up and coming NRHA trainer. But Andrea was humble enough and forward thinking enough to bring in these other disciplines, and guys like myself who are doing the ranch horse events. Obviously Todd Bergen, who does the cow horse, and Andrea worked for Todd for a long time. And then, he brought in a Don and Anna. And so there's just, there's so many things you can learn, whether you like the cow horse stuff, the cutting, whether you like, the reining, whether you like the ranch horse stuff, whether you just want to advance your horsemanship. There's something for everyone.
Yeah, no, I am thoroughly enjoying getting to watch all of it. So I highly recommend anybody who has the opportunity to watch it. Like you said, Andrea has it available on his website, and then we're just offering some tiny little clips to kind of give you a sneak peek of what it was like. But anyway, kind of talking about the future, this masterclass was just the start of a series of masterclasses that you and I have been brainstorming for a while now. We're hoping to cover some other events in the future, and maybe even kind of expand more on some of the ranch riding stuff that we've already talked about. But you want to talk a little bit about some of the other ranch events that you are consistently showing in, and we're going to start kind of talking about more in some of our future videos?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm hopeful that we get to keep working together as long as you guys will have me. But I know that we've talked about doing, some ranch trail content, and certainly there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the ranch trail. That's also a very rapidly evolving class, and I'm excited to get to talk about some of the stuff that we have to encounter and navigate in that stuff. I think there's more to talk about with the ranch riding. I think we just kind of barely scratched the surface with our first master class, and I'm hopeful that we can do a follow-up to that at some point. And then I think that, we should also talk about the working Western rail, or the ranch on the rail, as it's called in some organizations, because despite what some people might believe, there's actually a strategy to that as well, and sort of an art and a science to everything. So I'm excited to talk about all of it, and kind of connect it all, and to give everyone a little something to choose from and to learn from, and hopefully to apply to their own horse and whatever else they have going on at home.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I had so much fun on this last shoot, and we have been doing some really cool work with the drones and just different camera angles, and I had such a blast on it. So I'm really looking forward to it. But thank you for jumping on here and talking with us, and kind of giving people a chance to learn a little bit more about the masterclass that we're currently releasing. For those that want to follow along outside of Ride TV, where can they find you?
Well, hopefully I'm not too hard to find, but we've certainly got a website, about LionPerformanceHorses.com, and we can be found on Facebook and Instagram and a lot of the social media sites as well. So I think that we're out there, and we're looking forward to doing more stuff with you guys, and we're looking forward to continuing this relationship and giving people hopefully more information and education about what we're doing and about the ranch classes in general.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for jumping on during your busy schedule and talking with us.
You bet. Thanks, Nicole. Always a pleasure.
Once again, we would like to thank Platinum Performance for sponsoring this episode of The Ride. Thank you guys for tuning into the Ride podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and please be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow Horse and Rider Magazine on social media and find us at horseandrider.com to see all the cool things that we're up to. And if you have any comments or questions, please be sure to hit us up at horseandrider@equinenetwork.com. We want to hear from you guys. And if you like what you're listening to, please be sure to leave us a review on iTunes.